Information technology has been recognized as an inevitable catalyst with regards to civic engagement, whether it be to mitigate social welfare, education reform, healthcare, or even disaster management. One such technology is the Google Person Finder, and one such event was the Nepal earthquakes in 2014. Through this video, we will evaluate the role of Google Person Finder as a focal technology following the events. We will be using the DeLoyne and McNeil model as a guide to understanding the mechanics behind the Google Person Finder, elements of success, deliverables, and overall usability to the victims of the Nepal earthquake.
When the earthquake happened, and so when I woke up one day, I just looked at my phone and there were bunch of messages and like WhatsApp and whatnot. And then I looked at it, and my brother and my sister, they were like, "Oh, don't freak out!" But there was a huge earthquake in Nepal. We called our parents; they're all okay, but like we have not been able to get in touch with like several of our relatives. So I didn't even know what was happening. I just woke up, and then I started like I opened my laptop, and then I started looking at the earthquake pictures, and it was devastating. I mean, all there were many places which I had like seen and like gone to since my childhood, and they were no longer there. All the temples and the cultural places.
I was at home. Usually Nepali houses, they have the kitchen on the top floor, but my house has it on the ground floor. I was actually in a very safe position, and then suddenly I felt everything shaking, but I didn't realize what was happening because nobody told us that the earthquake would happen then. So it just sounded like a lot of rattling because I was in the kitchen and all the glass was rattling. I felt like I was in an aeroplane when it passes through the clouds, they rattle, the aeroplane rattles. I felt like that, but then I realized that, oh my god, I'm not in an aeroplane, I'm like at home. But I wasn't sure what's happening. Only when I gained consciousness, I realized that I was holding very tightly to the kitchen counter. And then I ran out, and everybody was outside on the road. And fortunately, the place where we live in doesn't have tall buildings, and so everybody had run out to the road. And we were all in awe of what happened because the earth shook so badly that we could barely stand.
And it was really sad. I was just like kept going through the pictures. I tried to get in contact with my parents, but the network, because so many people were trying to like call their parents or their relatives, the phone was completely down. That there was no network whatsoever. So
Information feeds from online submissions, as well as data provided by humanitarian and governmental organizations. There are communities responsible for filtering spams. Ultimately, this ensures that the information provided by Google People Finder is as accurate as possible. The crisis response team in Google, responsible for managing the Google People Finder, usually decides on when to end the deployment of the platform for a specific event and hands over all the data collected to humanitarian or other governmental organizations. Users can submit a wide range of information on the people they're looking for, including family name, first name, alternative first and last names, physical characteristics like sex and age, the person's picture, any online profiles they might have, mobile number, and the last known location and address. Finally, users can subscribe to a person's profile in order to keep getting updates as more information on the person is being sent to the Google People Finder database. Now let's move on to the second component of our IS success model, the system. First, People Finder interchange format. Google uses the People Finder interchange format developed by the Katrina People Finder project to standardize the information format across all sources of information. Second component of the system is the embedded forms. Google allows anyone who has a website to share their People Finder submission form through an embedded link that they can place on their websites, therefore increasing the reach of Google to more people who are likely to have some information on lost people. Third is the Person Finder. Person Finder is the name of the database built by Google to host and aggregate all information related to missing people. It was written in Python and hosted on Google App Engine Cloud Platform. It is developed by a team in Google and by volunteers from all over the world. The database is open source, isn't available in GitHub. Finally, portability and internationalization. Based on the Google Person Finder documentation, any developer can create their own instance of the application and deploy it. The platform is available in 40 languages and has SMS search capability. Moving on to the third component of our IS success model, service quality. The combination of the system and infrastructure as well as the information feeding into the Google People Finder database makes it a very powerful tool in crisis situations. It provides much faster updates on missing people and helps humanitarian organizations that might be very dispersed share information between them. Secondly, Google hands over all the data it collects to relevant government organizations or humanitarian organizations like the Red Cross so that they can keep working on finding missing people. Due to the popularity and the effectiveness of the system in helping victims of natural disasters, it's been deployed multiple times.
We further discuss the intention for system use. A measure showing the extent to which the system use is very high is the growth in the number of people who have submitted missing people profiles. In 2010, during the Haiti earthquakes, 55,000 profiles were posted. A year later, during the Japan tsunami, more than 600,000 profiles had been collected. Strong evidence of the intention of users to use the system. When Google deployed the Google People Finder in 2010 for the Haiti earthquakes, it took Google Crisis Response Team 48 hours to deploy the system. Over time, due to its strong demand from humanitarian organizations in the multiple events that followed, Google has been able to deploy the system in less than 2 hours. A sign of usage of this application is that every time Google deploys it, news outlets will advertise it to raise awareness of its availability, while social media users, especially Twitter, will start spreading the word regarding the platform's deployment. Let's now discuss user satisfaction. Google has never conducted a survey to assess if Google People Finder meets users' expectations. However, we can infer that the system seems to meet users' expectations as more and more people have been using it over the past years, and the platform has been deployed multiple times in the event of a crisis. To conclude the IS model, now let's discuss the net benefits of the system. We believe that the overall benefit of the system is positive. This is true in case of friends and families of missing people. It provides a fast and easy-to-use platform to get updates on the missing person from a database way larger than any individual humanitarian organization could have. The net benefit is positive to the press, government, and humanitarian organizations. Google People Finder provides a central and standardized database of missing people profiles, increasing the information that these organizations have and facilitating information sharing across these organizations. The net benefit is positive to Google as well, since the firm is getting a lot of buzz in the media regarding its increasing role in supporting communities in crisis situations and helping improve disaster management organizations' work by facilitating information sharing. This shows the belief Google has in one of its corporate mottos, "Do not be evil."
The positive effects of Person Finder are easily reproducible, as posts can be created easily and instantaneously through Google services. The most important aspect of Person Finder, in order to expand, is its ability to achieve a critical mass of users. If much of the public is unaware of Person Finder, its positive effects cannot be realized. Creating a large and active base of users in their network will be vital to reaching relevance and recognition. Google's existing ubiquitous brand is an invaluable asset in this, however, because almost everyone with access to the internet will already know about the company.
Export into other countries, internet access will be a really important aspect to consider. In countries with little access to the internet, or in situations where a disaster has destroyed the ability to connect via the internet, Person Finder's impact is significantly reduced. While information can be communicated outside of the country and disseminated on Person Finder via a third party, like an aid organization, Person Finder is much more effective when those affected can post directly. The only way to avoid setbacks such as this is to create greater access to internet across the globe, including satellite internet access, which is very helpful in disaster-ridden areas. Affect most alternatives in this space, such as email, phone calls, Facebook, and other websites, however, so there really isn't an alternative that avoids this. Google attempts to circumvent this issue by utilizing an open standard for its information, allowing humanitarian organizations to do mass uploads of information. An aid organization is much more likely to have access to services like internet and is in a disaster area. Internet and a device to access the simple site, the service is completely free to use. It appeals to our basic human instincts to survive and for companionship and family, including the survival and health of those people. This site is simple, easy to comprehend across cultures and languages, and simply has one goal: to inform people of the fate of those they care about, hopefully informing them that they are alive when all other communication fails.